is Step 1 with Freddie Wilson. Welcome to another episode of Step 1. I'm Freddie Wilson. We have a great show for you today. My good friend and a recurring guest, a three-time recurring guest, by the way, is returning to the show. That's right. Jacob Feldstien is back on the show. And we are going to do a full preview of the NFL playoffs. And spoiler alert, Packers are in the playoffs. And I'm very confident we're going to go to Dallas. We're going to beat the Cowboys. I know they technically haven't lost at home, but we're going to beat the Cowboys. In other news, the Michigan Wolverines are national champions for the first time since 1997. And Draymond Green is coming back to the NBA. And Ja Morant is out for the season. And of course, we will do a full recap and preview of the NFL. All right, let's ride. All right, we're going to start with the NBA today. Draymond Green is cleared to play. We're still waiting for him to actually start playing games. He still has to get up to game speed. But in about a week, Draymond is going to be back in the NBA. Draymond said after he got suspended, he was thinking about retiring, and Adam Silver, the commissioner of the NBA, was like, no, you can't retire. You can't make this rash decision. So Draymond didn't retire, which is actually good. I'm excited to have Draymond back in the NBA. He makes for entertaining television. It's great for content for the show because it seems like every week we're talking about Draymond Green. We talk about him a lot on the show. It's great for content. It's fun to watch. Even when he's not, punching people, it's still a fun player to watch. Like, he has a fun style of play. So glad Draymond's come back. That being said, even with Draymond back, the Warriors are starting to falter just a little bit. Chris Paul's out for the next few weeks. They're not winning games they normally would win. But once again, it's the Golden State Warriors. And when they get it together, does anyone really want to play this team in the playoffs? No, the answer is absolutely not. So I still think they are a legitimate team. They might just be having a little bit of a regular season struggle. Not a big deal. It's about how you play in the playoffs at the end of the day. Also, Ja Morant is out for the season, so there's no chance the Grizzlies can make the play-in tournament. So in the long run, this actually might be very good for the Grizzlies. This is clearly a lost season. But if you lose a lot of games and you get a good player in the draft, a couple years, Grizzlies could be a very good team. So just something to keep an eye on. But again, bummer Ja Morant's out for season. He's a lot of fun. Great player to watch. You never want to see a guy go down like that. Meanwhile, the Celtics are still the best team in the NBA. And as of his taping, we're undefeated at the Boston Garden. I know on my last episode, I said I shouldn't jump to conclusions about my sports teams. It was my New Year's resolution. But I'm going to break this rule. Because the Celtics are the team to beat, not just in the Eastern Conference, they're the team to beat in the entire NBA. I'm feeling really good about the Celtics right now, and I think we are going to be a force to reckon with if we continue this level of play, and I am so excited. Let's bring championship number 18 to Boston. I'm just calling it right here. We can do this. This is the team that's going to do that. All right, let's move on to football. For the last time in the 2023 season, we're going to recap college football. The Michigan Wolverines are national champions. Go Blue, baby. I was going very hard for Michigan because I will never root for the Washington Huskies. So 34-13 win. They are national championships. Michigan has proved to the world that they are, in fact, a very good team. I know the narrative of Michigan was they didn't play any good teams for most of the season, which they did until pretty much Ohio State. They didn't play anyone notable. I know they allegedly cheated. But again, a lot of teams do what they were doing. They just did a lot bigger and got caught doing it. But after this playoff run, I think there's nothing left for debate. They showed the world that they are, in fact, a very good team, if not the best team in college football. Washington was a good team. But who would have thought this high-powered Husky offense would only score 13 points? This was a team that was just absolutely demolishing people. Well, not demolishing, that's not the right word, but the offense was demolishing people. Michael Penix was unstoppable this entire season, and the Michigan Wolverines made him look human. It's just a great win for the University of Michigan and Jim Harbaugh, who, in his words, can now sit at the big boy table because his dad is a national championship winning coach and his brother is a Super Bowl winning coach. The best part is now that Washington's in the Big Ten, we're going to get this regular season matchup next season. So that's going to be a very exciting game. But man, what a great season of college football. A lot of great stories, a lot of great teams. I know college football is going to look a lot different next year, but it was fun to enjoy the last season before everything looks completely different. But I am excited for the 12-team playoff, and I'm excited for the Ducks to dominate the Big Ten because we are going to dominate the Big Ten. I'm calling it right here. And let's not forget what's happening in the 2024 season as well. The new NCAA football video game has finally come back. Really excited for this game. Maybe I'll do some streaming of it on Twitch. I used to do some Twitch streaming. Maybe for this podcast, you can watch me play NCAA, but just excited to play it and just excited for next season. Already can't wait for it. All right, let's talk about the NFL. The regular season is over and the playoffs are set. But let's recap a wild week 18 of the NFL. It all started Saturday with the Steelers beating the Ravens. Yes, I know the Ravens did need to win this game. They already locked up the 1 seed. They were benching a lot of their key guys. Lamar didn't play, but the Steelers had a lot to play for, and they were able to get the win. I really do think Mike Tomlin is a top 5 best coach of all time. Every year, he finds ways to have a winning record and at least be a competitive team. This team was not meant to be good. Remember how bad they were? And they were like finding ways to win games. The offense was horrific. They were outgained pretty much every game they played, but somehow they find a way to win games and they made a way to the playoffs. And also, they can say they beat the Ravens twice, which for a Ravens fan is just a gut punch. On Saturday night, the Texans came into Indianapolis and beat the Colts. I do have to say, if you were to tell me that the Week 18 game between the Houston Texans and the Indianapolis Colts would not only matter, but actually be a good game, I would have thought you were nuts. No one thought this game was going to be a meaningful prime-time game. This was supposed to be a rebuilding year for both teams, and somehow they found themselves playing a meaningful game all the way to the end, and the Texans won the AFC South. Also, CJ Stroud may technically be a rookie, but he plays like he's been doing this for a decade. The guy's just so good. A lot of fun to watch. And again, I wouldn't sleep on the Texans. I know no one thought the Texans were going to be as good. Again, I still can't name a single player on the Texans defense besides Will Anderson because, he's a rookie, he went to Alabama, and he was pretty good in college. But I think the Texans are a team that we are going to have to start taking seriously because I would not sleep on them during the playoffs. Moving into Sunday, the Jaguars are out of the playoffs and went from a legitimate Super Bowl contender to losing 5 out of their last 6 and missing out on the postseason. Now, they had some injuries and Trevor Lawrence was banged up, but if you're a Jacksonville Jaguars fans right now, this has got to hurt a lot. I still think the future is very bright in Jacksonville, but again, the Jaguars are just one of those teams that just aren't meant to be good. They were really bad for so long. Then they had that one fluke season where they should have made it to the Super Bowl, in my opinion. They were so close to being the Patriots. But again, I just think like the Chargers meant to be mediocre. We've discussed that at length on the show. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars are just meant to be bad. Even when they're good, they find ways to mess it up. And what ended up being a meaningless game for the Saints, they at least got Jamal Williams in the end zone. I know the Falcons were mad about that. And Saints coach Dennis Allen claimed he told his team to take a knee. But Jameis Winston called an audible on this one. I was like, no, we're going to get Jamal Williams in the end zone. Jamal Williams was the guy who had the most touchdowns the previous season. But different role in New Orleans, was playing more of a fullback role, kind of got into the end zone. And his teammates and Jameis Winston were like, no, we're getting you into the end zone. So it was nice to see Jamal Williams finally get a touchdown. Former Packer, by the way. I loved him when he was on the Packers. Yeah, it may have not been a great look, but once you know the full context, I feel like you can't be mad at the Saints for doing that. They want to get their boy into the end zone. The Jets finally beat the Patriots in what could possibly be Bill Belichick's last game as the head coach of the Patriots. It's a weird feeling that the New England Patriots are going to have to make some difficult decisions during the offseason. The times, they're just changing. It used to be, it didn't really matter what the Patriots did in the offseason. You knew they were going to be good. You knew Brady was going to be there. Things are changing. Patriots have like the number 3 pick in the draft. Like, this is a weird feeling. I grew up in Boston. I watched Patriots fans beat hockey for like 20 years. And now I get to watch them not be in the playoffs and actually have to worry about the offseason. It's a great feeling. Just a great feeling. Also, the Buccaneers are NFC South champions with a very unconvincing win against the Panthers. But again, I still think the Buccaneers are a team that might shake some heads in the playoffs. Like they're playing the Eagles. We'll get into it later. But let's just say this is one of those games where I think the Buccaneers could very much win it. Moving into the afternoon games, I'm happy to say we did it. The Packers are in the playoffs. We beat the Bears in a season where I publicly on this show wrote off the Packers in October, claiming they are a dumpster fire. We found a way to make the playoffs. Again, the Packers just don't know how to be a bad team. This was a year where no one, including me, expected much out of his team. We are a young team, first-year star quarterback in Jordan Love, and yet we found ways to win games, and we're in the playoffs. In the NFC East, the Cowboys were able to win the division as they beat the Commanders, and the Eagles lost to the Giants, and are not looking good at all. The Eagles went from the hottest team in the league. They can barely win a game right now. I know they didn't try to really win this game. They had already made the playoffs, and they put in Oregon legend Marcus Mariota for Jalen Hurts. But still, if you are an Eagles fan right now, you have the right to be extremely worried because you were supposed to be a Super Bowl caliber team. And all of a sudden, you're barely scraping by. Moving into Sunday night, the Bills are AFC East champions with a big win against the Dolphins. The Bills are a team that can be really good or just really bad, and there's just nothing in between. We don't know which version we're going to get out of the Bills. It can vary from game to game, but even within the game, the Bills were marching down the field, and then all of a sudden, Josh Allen would throw a reckless interception. Which version of the Bills are we going to get next week? Hard to tell, hard to tell. But we're going to talk about it with my good friend, Jacob Feldstien. Let's get to that interview right now. All right, today we welcome on a very special guest, a reoccurring guest, and our first three-peat guest. Feldstien, how are we doing today?
Not once, not twice, three times. It's an honor.
All right, I know we're here to talk about the NFL playoffs, but we got some pressing news. Literally, this just happened. Nick Saban is retiring from Alabama. So, do you think this is going to help Vanderbilt become an SEC contender?
I heard through the grapevine that he's thinking about going to Vandy. I don't know if he'd go right away as like starting head coach, just head coach. I kind of think he'd have to work his way up as coordinator, but there's something there. And for the transfer portal, I think it would help. I did see Vanderbilt, and really this is about Vanderbilt. This isn't about Nick Saban. Would have been in the Irrelevant Bowl this year. Did you see that news?
I did not.
Next year, they're going to try to make a bowl. It's like all fun and games for the two worst teams in college football. Vanderbilt would have been in it. So
what was their record?
I don't know, but I think we won week 0.
You won week 0 against Hawaii. Like that's
at one point we were 1-0.
Yeah, one moment you were 1-0. But yeah, no, this is so fitting for Nick Saban. Like, just like on a 5 p.m. on like a Wednesday. On a Wednesday, he's just like not even a press conference. I think he just literally said, "I'm retiring."
It's crazy. The news came out. Was there any like
there was rumors, kind of like I'd heard after the Rose Bowl, like Paul Feinbaum was like kind of mentioning like we could have seen Nick Saban's last game because like it's pretty clear like he hates NIL, he hates the transfer portal. He's an old school guy, and like just like I think the way the direction of the game was going, it's kind of fitting that he goes out at the end of this year before everything really starts to change.
What's next for him? TV?
I mean, the next for him is he's retired.
Isn't he always like but like
he's on like the 70s. I mean, he's had a pretty good career.
He's 70. He looks great for
70. He's over 70. He's probably like 75 now.
God bless him.
But I mean, Pete Carroll's stepping away too. And look at you know how old Pete Carroll is?
Yeah, but Pete Carroll, it feels like in college football, especially for like the great college football teams, like there's not really rebuilds the way that, I mean, you restaff and everything, but a rebuild could come in
Mm.
2 seasons in college football. The NFL, like the Seahawks, are a long way away from being like you need a certain level of guarantee for Pete Carroll. Like Pete, you're either going to be here for the next like 5 years or you're not, because that's what our rebuild's going to look like. Probably
I
a
mean,
little
he'll
bit.
he'll
But
still be an advisor, but he's just not going to be like coaching. But again, like the man's 72 and he looks great as well.
what do you think it feels like to be 72?
I mean, it depends on like what version of 72 you are, because there's like the Pete Carroll 72 where you look like you're like in your 50s and you're
Mm-hmm.
running down a sideline coaching the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the version of 72 where you're old and in a wheelchair. So it's a really weird time in your 70s. I don't know what it's like. Maybe one day I'll make it there.
Maybe. How many years you got left for that?
How many years? I'm 25, so I got a while.
No, do the math. I think the listeners really want to hear you do the math.
Let's see. To get to 70, it
Nope,
is
72.
72. Let's see. Let's do some math real quick. I've got
See you next time,
about
folks.
about 48 years.
There you go.
Wait, no, that's not even right.
Kind of thought it was.
It is right. It's right. It's right. I can do math. All right, let's dive into the playoffs though. So we start on Saturday. We got a fun
Mm-hmm.
one. Buccaneers Eagles. No, wait, that's Monday. I totally butchered that. What
This
is the first game? I know Buccaneers Eagles is
Browns
happening.
versus Houston would be the first game.
Browns versus Texans. That's the one.
Yeah.
I got them mixed up.
Mm-hmm.
All right, how do we feel about this one? This is a surprise matchup. I didn't think really either team was going to be into playoffs, let alone the Texans were going to be AFC South champions.
It's kind of surprising. I mean, every year you get a couple teams that sort of, sneak into the playoffs, and it's like, oh, they're not great teams, but someone's got to be there. And it's probably in the AFC, these two teams and a little bit Pittsburgh. But the thing is, like, they're playing each other. Normally, those are just the teams that would just get killed by the 2 seed and the 3 seed. And now they're really so. The Browns' defense is legit.
Yeah,
Like
Miles Garrett, all of them.
that's
Like it's scary good how good they
Mhm.
are.
And I think if they make, they play Baltimore if they win, so it's not like they're going to make a huge run. But I think Denzel Ward,
They could beat the Ravens if they win this game. Like I really do.
I don't see it.
This could be like a 2007 Chicago Bears team where your defense is lights out, and like you remember who the quarterback was for that Bears team in the Super Bowl, right?
Rex Grossman.
Yep, good old Rex Grossman. But that defense was so good, it just carried them to the Super Bowl. Yeah, they got demolished.
Yeah, but that doesn't really happen anymore. I mean, when did you say it was? Like, when's the last time?
Last time something like that happened, it was that '07 Bears team.
Yeah,
Like oh six, oh
it's
seven,
not.
yeah.
We're just like a somewhat miserable offense, and they're not that miserable, but God, they're just so beaten up.
But again, like Flacco's finding ways to win games, and it just would be so fitting if they find a way to win this game, go to Baltimore to take on the Ravens.
Can I say something? It would make me laugh, and everyone else would be like pissed off about it. The Browns win the Super Bowl, and we get the shot of Deshaun Watson hoisting the Lombardi, baby. Yeah, yeah, massages for everyone. How great would that be?
And that would be pretty bad. If
Mm-hmm.
Again, we're an anti-Deshaun Watson podcast.
Well, I wouldn't speak for.
We're
Yeah.
anti-Deshaun Watson on this show, very much so. We don't condone that kind of behavior.
Hmm.
But again,
Oh, I'm
let's give some credit to the Texans though. Like the Tech at the start of the season, I will admit, like outside of CJ Stroud, and will understand because they drafted him as well. I couldn't name a player on the Texans.
Mm-hmm.
I thought like, okay, CJ Stroud might be good, but like this team is a long way from being relevant.
It felt like it. It's insane how quickly it was determined that the Bryce Young versus CJ Stroud debate was just over. It felt like 6 weeks into the season, and CJ Stroud looks so legit. And it's hard. It's his first playoffs, and it's Joe Flacco's 15,000th playoff or something like that. But just I kind of trust him going in, especially more than I would any normal rookie quarterback. He's really, really good and is going to have a lot of success. It's
Yeah,
probably
it's
early
just
for now, but
It's just wild. But also with the Bryce Young Stroud debate, if you flipped it and like the Panthers took Stroud, I don't know if Stroud would be this good on the Panthers. I think the coaching staff of the Texans with D'Amico Ryans, I think they gave him an opportunity to be good. I think
D'Amico's
it's
for sure coach of the year.
yeah, I think it's the right scheme for a guy like him. I think you got to give a lot of credit to the coaching staff in Houston as well.
I agree.
All right, but who do you think's going to win this game?
I'm giving this one to the Browns.
You're getting the Browns. I think the defense is going to win. Yeah, I think the Texans are good. I think they're just very, not many of those guys have played in playoff games.
I think if the Browns make a little bit of a run, like Denzel Ward is going to be the name people remember from the. He might have been like an All Pro. He's going to be a Pro Bowler, but there's every playoff some guy just emerges as the great defensive player, who came out of nowhere. I think it's Denzel Ward is really good and really complimentary. You can't talk about the Browns without talking about Myles Garrett, who is just such a game wrecker. I'm giving those Browns.
All right, let's move on to the next one. Peacock exclusive on Saturday night. So don't forget to download Peacock if you don't have it already. Dolphins versus Chiefs. Tyreek Hill is going back to Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
I like this one. I actually really do. This is a good one. Sucks that it got put on Peacock.
Do you not have Peacock?
I of course have Peacock. But for all the NFL fans who don't, it's a bummer. And also, I feel like they're going to get a lot of downloads though, because all the Swifties are going to want to watch this game.
You think so? I think it feels like that storyline started just.
I don't know. I know plenty of Taylor Swift fans who are still invested in the Chiefs.
It peaked.
It didn't. The Chiefs peaked.
The storyline peaked.
I mean, maybe for you as a non-Taylor Swift fan, but like in the Swiftie world, it is still the talk of the town.
I get that. Well, except for what happened with Selena Gomez and the Golden Globes and everything.
Yeah, sure, but again, like
the number one priority is taking down Joe Coy.
Sure, but again, I think this is still the talk of the town. Like, we've had my friend Payne on the show a couple times. She is all in on the Chiefs, and when she commits to something, she goes for it, and I love it. She was shit talking me during Packers Chiefs, by the way.
If she downloads Peacock for this, then it worked. God bless them. But, Peacock, I think they did it. They had one regular season game.
Was that like the Black Friday game though?
I think so, and it was a commercial-free fourth quarter. I'd be okay with
that. If they do, they're not. No way are they going to do a commercial-free fourth quarter for a playoff game. They did it
last time.
I mean, but that was the Peacock exclusive regular season. Are we going to do that in a playoff game?
Why not?
I don't think we should go for it. I still feel like the Chiefs are struggling. Like, it's not the same Chiefs. It's the same guys. It's not a personnel change.
This team is limping into the playoffs, which stinks. I'm a Kansas City. I'm a Mahomes guy.
I mean, we all love Mahomes, but again, it feels different. I mean, I've heard like people saying like, "Oh, Eric Bieniemy not being there is making a huge difference." Sure, but again, like it's still the same guys who won a Super Bowl last year who know how to win games.
I mean, they didn't have these problems at wide receiver last year. And they had Juju last year, right? He was not.
Juju wasn't like an impact player. It's not like
he wasn't lighting the world on fire, but he wasn't a story that, oh, look how terrible these receivers are. And now it's like a really problematic, It's I think Kansas City will win this game. If they lose, if they lose this postseason, if they don't win the Super Bowl, it's probably going to be because sometime in the fourth quarter there was just some big drop, or maybe not the fourth quarter, but just end of the half or something.
It would be so funny if Kadarius Toney dropped the game-winning touchdown in the playoffs.
How great would that be?
Win just a full cycle.
Yeah.
Like they get to the Super Bowl, and then it's just like the Brandon Cooks with the Rams, 2 wide open TDs, drops them both. Could have won the game right there. I mean, I think the Dolphins are going to give them a run though. Like,
well, if we can finish with Kansas City, first of all, Kansas City's defense is actually very good as well.
They are,
worth mentioning, and L'Jarius Sneed and whoever, but and Steve Spagnuolo, who's a very good defensive coordinator. I don't know if it's possible to just like flip the switch and like the wide receivers actually start getting on the same page with Mahomes. Like that doesn't feel like, oh, it's the playoffs now, let's try. And there's some things that like Mahomes has done before where it's like things he can do and flip the switch in the playoffs. He's fine with that. This doesn't feel like it's something that's able to be overcome. So I think it'll probably end up hurting them.
Yeah, but I think like I don't think the Dolphins, they live in Miami. I don't think they're going to be able to hang in like it's gonna be like 10 degrees in
Yeah,
Kansas
is that what
City.
they're saying? It's gonna be freezing.
It's January in Kansas City. It's always cold.
You guys are being loud, the crowd.
And it's loud and it's cold and like I don't know if the Dolphins can do that.
I think they'll manage. I mean, Tyreek played there, so he knows.
Yeah,
But
Tyree played there, but like I don't think Tua's never lived in a cold environment in his life. He's from
oh,
Hawaii. He
fine.
went to Alabama. He
Oh
plays
yeah,
in Florida.
yeah,
Like it makes a difference. Like it really the cold
probably.
hits.
Yeah.
Like
Um,
just like if it were in Miami and it was like 75 degrees and humid, that would also make a difference.
you think Miami's offense is going to suffer because of that? I mean, Miami's offense is they're so electric,
But is Waddle playing? Because I think if Waddle plays, that's a game changer right there.
Waddle gets injured like 5 times a game.
I know, but the thing is, if you have just Tyreek as your fast guy on the field, at least the defense can kind of handle that. But when you got Waddle on the other side, it's hard to stop them both. Like, and they're both just two really fast dudes.
Yeah, and they have Devon Achan and Mostert, and I'm they're. I think the speed will travel.
Yeah, speed does travel pretty well.
Yeah,
but,
and it's on Tua then to do it, and I don't think Tua has any history of playoff success in the pros.
Didn't they win a game last year? No, they didn't.
They were out and they had Skylar Thompson, or he was out. Skylar Thompson lost that game to the Bills.
Oh yeah, because the Packers gave Tua a concussion.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, we gave him a concussion, and then they kept Tua in, and then he throws like 2 more picks, and then they realized like, oh, he might have a concussion.
This feels like Miami. I think it all comes down to Tyreek Hill could win this game for them alone. Like he could just go off for 150 and 2. Yeah. I don't know if he will. That's the question. And like what what's gonna happen? Because it's that convulging with like Mahomes can win any single game ever by himself too. So and so can Kelsey. So it's two like clashing forces. I think we could get a really good game.
Yeah, this is one of the ones I'm actually very excited for. But
a sneaky missing piece. Every time I watch the Dolphins, they hype up Andrew Van Ginkel a lot. Their linebacker.
He's injured, yeah.
Got injured in the Bills game and is out, and that's going to be killer.
Yeah, that it really is. Like he's a pretty solid player on the team. And also, their defense has Oregon legend Javon Holland.
Sure.
I mean, he was pretty good at Oregon. Cool guy. So he plays for the Dolphins. So, we'll always root for another Duck in the NFL. Okay. But let's move into Sunday. Steelers, Bills.
Wait, whoa. Who you got?
Who do I got? I'm going with the Chiefs. I'm going with the Chiefs also. Yeah, the Swifties will be happy, especially if Kelsey gets a nice TD. But Steelers, Bills. How are we feeling about that one?
Skip. Well, no, not skip. I have no thoughts on Pittsburgh with TJ Watt out. Do we need to talk about him? Say something about Pittsburgh.
Say something about Pittsburgh. I think I said earlier in the show, like I will give Mike Tomlin a ton of credit. Like I think this season has shown why Mike Tomlin is a great coach, maybe a top 5 coach of all time at this. Like I know not with the Super Bowls, but think about it. He's never had a season below 500. They're always a threat. Maybe not like a Super Bowl contender, but they're always relevant. This team wasn't meant to be good.
It's incredible.
And like this, especially this team, like think about how they were winning games when their offense couldn't score.
they're kind of a little bit in purgatory right now, but TJ Watt, who's obviously not playing, is such a beast. That and as long as they have him and Tomlin, there's like hope for that team in the
Yeah.
future. But they're not going to win this game.
I mean, I don't know. Mason Rudolph is 3-0 as a starter this season.
Mason Rudolph playing?
They have said Mason Rudolph will be the guy. They're going to ride with the hot hand, in Mike Tomlin's words.
Okay, fine. Good for them.
It's just wild. The Steelers are even in this. Like the fact that they made the playoffs, didn't have a losing season.
So when I was talking about like the Browns in Houston,
Yeah,
Pittsburgh is the team that snuck into the playoffs. I mean, they're in the playoffs because someone had to be in the playoffs.
yeah, kind of.
I mean, I'll give them all the credit in the world. They still had to, win and play the games, but
Mm.
it felt like with uh, Jacksonville sabotaging themselves, and Pittsburgh was just there.
Yeah, pretty much.
Let's talk about. I'm more interested in Buffalo.
And but it's what version of Buffalo are we gonna get?
Exactly.
Because even like you saw in the Dolphins game, you saw like one possession they're lighting it up, and then the next possession, Josh Allen throws like an absolutely reckless interception.
I it the line is like, oh, well, you got to take the good with the bad with Josh Allen, or you got to take the bad with the good with Josh Allen. Like you want those deep bombs, you got to deal with some deep interceptions. But I really sometimes I watch these games and I'm questioning his like decision making, where he's really like throwing end zone interceptions and just not being careful. He had one play at the end of the first half against Miami, that game from last week. I was watching at a Bills bar, and uh at the end of the half, they were driving down, and with time ticking, maybe like 6 seconds left, Josh Allen throws it to Kincaid short of the goal line. He was at like the 7 yard line. He throws it short of the goal line, and Kincaid just gets tackled, and that's the end of the half. It's so. I mean, you and I could tell, like, you throw that ball in the end zone and you throw it there quickly, because if you get it, it's a touchdown. If you don't, you kick the field goal. And I don't know where that lapse is for Josh Allen, and that's the concern.
I mean, every year it's always been like Josh Allen's great, he's electric, but it's always like oh, like when he runs, sometimes he should slide and he doesn't. He doesn't really like to
Yep.
slide. Or this season, it's all been about like throwing it like 40 yards down the field, just like hopefully someone will catch it, and he's on my team.
Josh Allen, his running was really important when he was like Devin Singletary and these bums. They didn't have a running game, and that's what and now they really have something with James Cook.
Mhm.
And so the Josh Allen has been running it less, it seems, than in
Yeah,
previous seasons.
I want him to win on
And
like a reckless run. I just want him to like get like a TD where he should be sliding, and he just keeps going and somehow finds himself in the end zone.
I think we're going to see a lot of that these playoffs. But uh, Stephon Diggs is been such a no-show for the second half of the season. It's very concerning. And Gabe Davis either is the greatest football player of all time or is just 0-0-0 across the board.
But they win games. They have two great tight ends. Like Dalton Kincaid was a steal in the draft.
Totally. And Dawson Knox is very solid.
Like they already had a good tight end. Or like, let's get another really good tight end.
Mm-hmm.
I knew Dalton Kincaid was gonna be good. I saw him play at Utah. I'm like, oh, like he's gonna be good.
Yeah. He's there's a lot of very good young tight ends, which is
Yeah,
cool. Um I don't know. I more so than like the problems that Kansas City's wide receivers have. I think Buffalo's offense can click in the playoffs. I just don't know if it will. But it feels like it should be possible for Josh Allen to just make some better decisions, right? Like,
yeah. I mean, a lot of her wins have been like it's weird that they're the number 2 seed.
yeah, very. That doesn't.
Like,
They don't feel like a
well, I love there was almost a playoff scenario. There was a reason why this game was the Sunday night game because like if like the Jags had won, a couple other things had panned out, this game could have easily been the Bills are the 2 seed or they're out of the playoffs,
which would have been awesome.
which like just sums up the season for the Bills.
So I'll tell you about the Bills bar that we went to. First of
Yeah.
all, everyone was ugly, which is so cool. Um,
Okay. Good to know.
but no, it's just I'm setting the scene. Everyone was ugly, and the roof was like pretty low, or like the bar, and there was like a little like you had to step up on like a platform. The bar was on the platform, so your head was like right below the roof. There was a lot of like FDNY, firefighter stuff. And every time the Bills scored, they do the Bills will make you want to shout, get your hands up and shout, hey, hey,
Yeah.
hey.
Banger.
So you got to do hey,
Hey,
hey, hey, hey.
hey. Yeah. We do that at Oregon
Let's
games.
go, Buffalo.
Let's go.
So that's what they do the whole time.
No, we do this at Oregon. We do shout at Oregon because of Animal House.
Shout.
Yeah, shout. Yeah, because it was filmed in Eugene. Little side note.
Everyone's drinking Labatt Blues.
Of course they were. That's like it's technically Canadian, but I think it's brewed in Buffalo.
I think they take pride in the Canada stuff.
I mean, it's like literally, it's basically Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Labatt Blue is just literally like it's basically just Bud Light in a different bottle.
Someone was wearing a sweatshirt of on the back. It was like never forget 9/11. All gave some gave all, which I guess means the people who died.
Okay,
It's like it's wearing that sweatshirt.
it's a weird thing, especially after Sean McDermott's little 9/11 comments that came out this season. That's a little such a weird analogy, like for a coaching analogy. Like I know coaches, like I was a former coach. Coaches are objectively weird people. Like I,
Mm-hmm.
I could go on about how weird shit my high school coach was, but like that is still really weird. That is a weird way to motivate your boys.
I
Most important game, Packers versus Cowboys. But
was
Packers made it. Like, come on. We
pretty good.
made it into the playoffs.
Good.
I mean, I will be bummed if we lose, especially to the Cowboys, because it's the Cowboys. But I will not be like shocked. I will not be upset. I'll be bummed, but not like upset.
Healthy. That's healthy.
Well, because like think about it, like look at how this team was in October. Like how terrible they were playing.
You're right.
And it was just like they couldn't commit to Jordan Love. They were like saying like after week 8, like, oh, we don't know if we're gonna extend Jordan Love. We need to see more out of him.
It's crazy the Jordan Love experience and really just how he's making some like awesome throws that are very encouraging. I hate to be the one to break it to you. I don't think the Packers are going to win
I
this game.
want them to win so bad. I know they
Freddie,
probably
I don't
won't.
think the Packers are winning the Super Bowl in 2024. I'll put it
The
that way.
Super Bowl, probably not. Could they win this
Probably not.
game? Maybe.
I suppose.
I mean, because we don't lose to the Cowboys in the playoffs. I mean, it's
Well,
only we only played them twice in recent memory, but we don't lose.
true.
They gave us
You
that
know,
scare in they gave us that scare in
there was a game
2016
where
or 2015.
Mason Crosby hit the crossbar, right? Or was there something like that? Or he just missed it
Nah,
like wide left?
no, he made a game winning field goal against the Cowboys.
You know
Uh,
what team Mason Crosby's?
yeah, he's not in the league anymore. I'm aware.
Yeah. Wrong.
What team is he on?
Football Giants.
He's on the Giants.
Giants had 4 kickers this year.
Oh, did he play for the
They had,
Giants? I don't remember him playing
yeah,
for
they
the
had Graham
Giants.
Gano, Cade York, what's his face we were just talking about, and some other guy. I don't know.
I did not
Guys,
know
let's talk about
Mason. I didn't know Mason Crossbar played for the Giants.
yes.
But yes, so there was that one that was 2017, and I can tell you exactly where I was for that game if you want to know. Where was I? I was in Boulder, Colorado. I had toured the University of Colorado Boulder,
Okay.
a school my mother didn't want me to go to because apparently it's a party school.
Sure.
So we like walk around a campus. She's like, "It's beautiful here. You're not going here." Which honestly is for the better. I'm glad I didn't go there. But she's like, all right, let's go watch the Packers.
Oh
Our our,
yeah.
our good friend Mike Strone gave me a bar recommendation, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So we go to this like sports bar and on Pearl Street. It's I would say about 60% Packers fan. There was like that one like Cowboys table that was in the corner. Good for them. And we won the game, and it was glorious.
Hell
And I
yeah.
remember like hugging. There was like some drunk Packers fan who starts hugging me after we win. But yes, so
Nice.
are the Packers going to win this game?
You,
Yes, that is my answer.
you know the Packers better than I or any of the listeners do, I would assume. What should we look for in the Packers? What's give us like a what to watch for?
I think like we're gonna play an aggressive game. I think we got nothing to lose. I like that.
Aggressive how?
Well, think about that
Offense?
Lions game against on Thanksgiving. Like they first play the game, 40-yard bomb. Like, and that really set the tone.
There was a game where the Packers defense just really got like diced up kind of recently, a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, it was against the Giants. I was there with you.
Oh, no, I wasn't even talking about that. There was a different game
That
where
Pan-
the
that Panthers game was a little dicey.
I don't think it was that, but there was might have actually been. But is the defense a concern?
It's not like a top 5 defense by any means. I don't think they're
No.
terrible. Like they did help us get to where we are.
Nixon, he's good, right?
Yeah, Nixon's good again. It's a banged up defense though.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as Jair doesn't get suspended for electing himself as a team captain.
Yeah, what the hell was that? That was weird.
It was the weirdest thing. He just wanted to be a captain just because he's like, I'm from Charlotte. We're in Carolina. Like, I gotta go out there. And he just
Good
like
for him.
was like, I'm a team captain. And he like butchered the coin toss because apparently you have to say you deferred of a second half.
Okay.
And he was like, when they won the toss, he's like, we want to be on defense. Apparently,
Mhm.
you can't say that. You have to say we deferred of a second half.
We want the ball and we're gonna score.
Yeah, and they didn't score. The Packers scored.
Pick six. Let's talk
Like,
about Dallas.
I
Um,
mean, they're a good team. It pains me to say it. They are an actual. This is the best Cowboys team we've seen in a long time.
as a Giants fan, this is the most scared I've been going into the playoffs about Dallas.
Because you're just
I,
waiting for that game for Dallas to lose. That's your Super Bowl, I'm assuming,
yeah,
right?
but it's like the thing has been Dallas. Oh, they're gonna make a dumb mistake. Oh, Mike McCarthy, clock management, whatever. It feels like you could just get away with like 4 clean games, and that's the Super Bowl. And God, they're so good.
They really are. But again, like who beat the Cowboys besides like the Niners smoked them. They lost to
Niners,
the Cardinals.
Cardinals,
They lose one more.
probably. Yeah, they were not too. The Eagles had 1 game against them.
All right, so I mean, like they are beatable, but they
Yeah,
look
but
good.
any team that isn't undefeated is beatable. But
If they play the Niners, I don't think they're going to beat the Niners.
I don't either. But they could, and that's what scares me. Is there, and it's a pretty far away. That would be in the.
They're really bad. They're not as good on the road, and they're going to have to go to Santa Clara.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very. That's a team where like everything is kind of clicking, and Dak. I hate to give him credit, so I won't. I'm not gonna say anything.
He is playing well, though.
I guess you could say that. I wouldn't.
I mean,
You,
also like CeeDee Lamb's
he's
going to
been
get
like
some ridiculous touchdown. Like they got guys.
Speed is unbelievable. And if I were to give Dak credit, I would say that, all the criticisms that he had last year, the turnover machine that he was, he's played a lot smarter this year.
Yeah,
A lot smarter. And Brandon Cooks has helped a lot.
yeah, it's gotta be something. Like I don't think the Packers are going to win as much as I want them to, but like I'll go into the game thinking we could totally win this game.
Myles Garrett is probably going to win Defensive Player of the Year. Micah Parsons still might be the best defensive player
Yeah.
in the NFL. He's
Also, like one of those games, I don't remember which one. It may have been, I don't know who it was. I think it was the Seahawks where like they just forgot to guard Micah Parsons on that last play.
yeah, he just ran up the yeah.
Like, he was just on the edge and it just like forgot to like, hey, like someone guard this guy. Like nothing was in between him and Gino.
The team to beat them is going to have a really good line to stop him and DeMarcus Lawrence.
And the Niners have that line.
Niners have it. My question is, we'll get to Detroit later, but could they possibly have it? I don't know. But in this matchup, I'm going with Dallas.
All right,
Shut up,
let's
Brandon Aubrey. Hold on. Shut up, Brandon Aubrey.
shout out Brandon Aubrey.
Uh, the boy, the rookie kicker, who is like pretty automatic, except for last game, but who cares?
All right. Rams Lions. As you can see, Feldstien switched jerseys. Don't have the pro version of Zoom, so we had to log off our Zoom call, wait 5 minutes because I don't have the pro version. It wouldn't let me start it again. So he put on the Brandon Jacobs jersey. One-time Super Bowl winning, one-time Super Bowl winner, two-time Super Bowl winner.
I'll say two.
Is it two?
Yeah.
I know that one, but
because Tiki was the one into the other one. He was definitely 2011.
thought it,
Probably not.
he was on that 2007 team. I thought.
I don't think so. I think that was Tiki.
Oh, whatever. You beat the Patriots twice.
Problem is, there's no way of finding that out, so it's hard to say.
I mean, there absolutely is.
Sorry.
Yeah.
You'll never know.
We just have to go to the library, find an encyclopedia.
Maybe you at home could find out for us.
Put it in the comments section. The wildly misused comment section, by the way.
Is it?
So I believe I've had one comment on all of the YouTube videos. This is our 14th episode. We have one total comment. It is from my father, where he wrote, "Freddie knows sports."
What do you mean wildly misused? Are you kidding me?
Well, I would like people, to start using it more. Maybe put in some conspiracy theories. I don't know. Just spitballing. Those Lions.
Rams Lions.
Stafford's come back to Detroit. Detroit visits Ford Field's first home playoff game.
I know. Stafford never
Stafford took him to the playoffs, but he never won the division.
Home. He's not gonna know what yeah, it's crazy. It's like the perfect when I was watching Red Zone last weekend, they were saying the way it's going, it doesn't look like we're gonna get Rams Detroit, and now, I guess whatever had to happen happened, and I'm really happy about this matchup.
I mean, yeah, you couldn't have written a better matchup. I think Ford Field is going to be electric. I think Detroit is going to come out in full force for this one. Not necessarily the team, but just the fans. There's not a whole lot to root for in Detroit these days. The Pistons and Red Wings suck. Well, Tigers suck.
Got to win, dude. That's a lot to root for.
They got to. Did they win last night?
Not last night. No, actually,
they were up by 20 against the Kings and blew it.
Lost by 20.
I'm not gonna lie. When I check the Celtics score one night out of the blue, and I'm like, oh, they're playing the Pistons, and I'm like, we're down by 20 at half, and we're at home. I'm like, this can't be real life.
Yeah.
No, this isn't real at all. We're not gonna lose to the Pistons.
And you didn't.
We didn't, so that's good. But
Detroit's
they're good.
How is Sam Laporta? He was injured in the last
game. I think he's questionable. I feel like he's not going to play. But again, they have other guys, but he is a valuable piece to the puzzle.
Very, very valuable.
But the defense is good.
Gibbs, Montgomery, but the defense is not that great. That's Detroit's problem.
But they're all right. They're not terrible, but they're not top five, but they're good.
For the rest of the league, they're fine. For the playoffs, I don't know.
But Dan Campbell's going to be aggressive, which I may not like the Lions, and I don't, but I love Dan Campbell.
I appreciate that, but I just don't.
Dan Campbell guy.
Really, their defense can get worked on, and it could probably show up this game.
Yeah, but again,
closer than people.
It's gonna be a close game. I want it to be a close game.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, it's a great story because you either have Stafford going into Detroit to beat his old team, or you have the Lions getting an actual playoff win for the first time in 30 years.
Goff beating his old team.
And Goff beating his old team too. Either way, it's a great story.
Yeah. Let's start with Detroit. Well, I guess we already started with Detroit.
Yeah.
But Jared Goff doesn't feel like Tell me what you think about Jared Goff.
How do I feel about Jared Goff? I feel like Jared Goff, like, first of all, I still like, I wasn't really watching college football in 2016, but like, I don't understand how he became a number one pick. Like, I looked at like what he did in college. Apparently this really bothers him to this day. He played at Cal. He never beat Stanford.
Hmm.
He never beat Oregon. And I don't think he ever beat Washington. He played for 3 years at Cal. He went collectively 0-9 against those teams. Which, if you're a Cal player, like those 3 games are your Super Bowl.
I wouldn't have drafted him at
It's
all.
just weird that like the whole debate. It was a weird draft. Like the big debate was like the Rams are going to pick between Wentz or Goff. Like, how did that become the plan?
I draft you want to hear the top seven of this draft?
Yeah, I'm actually
They're
curious.
all Goff one. They're all Pro Bowlers.
Yeah,
Goff
I mean,
one, Carson Wentz two,
mm,
Joey Bosa three, Ezekiel Elliott four, Jalen Ramsey, who we'll get to later in this game, or not this game, Miami. I was still thinking about
yeah,
whatever. I was thinking about the Rams. Jalen Ramsey. I don't know if we said it during the Rams or during the Miami.
yeah.
Jalen Ramsey's very good. Ronnie Stanley, who's good for the Ravens, and DeForest Buckner. So those are all
Oregon,
seven.
Oregon guy, by the way.
Mhm.
But again, like just because like I don't think he's a good quarterback. Like, I feel like a team with no quarterback would love to have Jared.
I don't fully trust him.
I don't know why.
It's not like the way that I don't trust Josh Allen because Josh Allen has higher highs and lower lows. I think
Mhm.
I just don't think uh, I don't know if I could see Jared Goff doing it
But he's
again.
won playoff games already. He did make it
Made
to
the
a Super
Super Bowl,
Bowl.
incredible. Uh,
That team was Aaron Donald mostly.
I know,
Let's be
and
honest.
Detroit does not have an Aaron Donald.
No, they do not. Like Alex Anzalone, cool and all, but no, he is no Aaron Donald.
Yeah, I think
Aiden
that's really
Hutchinson, great. No Aaron Donald.
I fantasy purposes aside, I think what they're doing with Gibbs and Montgomery is actually very smart. Um, and it works very well.
It's a good 1-2 punch.
Very good. Probably the best in the league, but it's uh and Amon-Ra St. Brown is great.
Yeah.
So what do you think about the Rams?
What do I think
So,
about the Rams? I'm just shocked that they found a way to make the playoffs. Like I know they were like okay at the start of the season, but then like Stafford gets injured.
hmm,
I don't even remember like they picked up Carson Wentz.
it feels like they had a very forgettable season.
It just like one of the seasons like Puka was great. Puka Nakua
Like,
was awesome.
if they didn't make the playoffs, I wouldn't have like thought twice about it. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh,
honestly, like I kind of like forgot the Rams were still like a team, but also like let's be honest, like that's kind of how you feel about the Rams, the Chargers.
here's the thing: is their offense is like
It's pretty good,
also very good. It is going to be a high scoring game.
which I
Um,
love. I love high scoring games.
Puka, if Cooper Cup plays, Kyron Williams, and I think Stafford can be the guy to.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like I feel like Stafford still got a lot in him. I feel like this, because like they won the Super Bowl last season was kind of a bust. This
Mhm. Well,
this
this is where I'm concerned about Detroit is like if the Rams could take advantage of this defense,
they
I
could. I
think.
mean, because Brian Branch, I think, is also going to be out for the game. He's a pretty good
Yeah.
defensive back.
Yep. Yeah.
Just like
Yeah. It just feels
can Aiden
what
Hutchinson
Aiden
get to
Hutchinson.
Stafford? Like, because Stafford
Yeah.
can't move.
Hmm.
Like, you
That's
gotta make
yeah.
Stafford run.
Right. You make him uncomfortable.
Yeah, because like it's not like he could really scramble at this point of his career. Like he can kind of, but like not really.
Sean McVay is smart enough to adjust for that, though.
Yeah, it'll be like a lot of like quick throws to like Puka or Cooper Cup.
Mm-hmm. And take a couple shots when needed, but yeah,
It's
and
it's
Aaron
a
Donald.
it's a toss up for this game. I really don't know who's gonna win.
Yeah,
Like
where
I
you go?
really, I'm just leaning Detroit just because I feel like it's a home game in Detroit and it's gonna be a really loud environment. So I would give that just mainly because they're the home team.
I'm kind of leaning Rams.
The Rams know how to win these games.
Yeah, they do.
And like I also
And
think Dan Campbell's gonna do something incredibly aggressive and bold. Like that
yeah,
the end of that Cowboys game.
I-
Like,
McVay factor of it all is like McVay could like sniff that out. Like if he goes onside kick to start off the game, you think McVay's not gonna? I
well,
mean, it's not like
on
what.
such a confusing play that the refs get confused by who's eligible and who's
Mhm.
not. It
Mhm.
was a great
I didn't
play.
uh, I didn't see what happened in that game, and so I was figuring it out, after the fact, and I was confused figuring it out. I can't imagine it real time, but
Yeah,
yeah,
like you can't make a trick play that's too confusing for the refs.
no.
Like if you're once you get into the eligibility thing, like
I
obviously
feel the
like
refs are like kind of in on it.
the refs had to know like
Yes.
they have to report eligible, and then they like announce over the loudspeaker if like a lineman is like eligible, they'll be like, this guy's eligible.
Hmm.
But I think they were trying to mess with the Cowboys and have like two more dudes go over to the refs and pretend like they were report eligible without saying anything. They just merely went to the refs.
Right.
But you can see why that can create some confusion. Like if I was a ref, I would be confused. I wasn't that good of a ref also when I umpired baseball. A little side note.
Yeah. Well,
Did I ever tell you the time when I like straight didn't know what happened on the play, how I determined which side to go with?
you just ask someone, what'd you do?
No, so well, I was the only ref because this was like it was the one time I did softball. Like it was like a third, fourth place game of a tournament as well. Like I don't know what the hell I'm doing here, but the game was a blowout. But it was a debatable call. I honestly wasn't paying attention. I was looking at something else. I think the call was like, did she tag up before the ball was caught or something? I wasn't
Yeah.
looking at her on third base. I was looking at out in right field to see if they catch the ball. And since I
I
was
don't
the
know how
only
refs do
ump,
that.
it was a one man crew.
It's actually kind
But
of a good.
so the on one side there was the coach who was what I would call the angry sports mom. Like you know the type, right? Like she's the coach. She's taller than me. She's like a solid 6'3". She is really fucking scary.
Hmm.
The other side, you have these two girls, probably my age. They're kind of hot. They seem really nice and they seem like they
Oh
would
yeah.
understand. So I went with the angry sports mom just because I felt like if I didn't agree with her, she might try to strangle me. Keep
Oh
in mind,
really?
her team was up by 10 and the game was like over. Like we
You're going,
ended it at
you're
the
going with
end
the
of the
hot
third.
girls.
Well, it just felt like, they would be more
Six big
sympathetic
men in
if I didn't
uniform.
go with them.
Fair.
It didn't really
Fair.
matter. It was a 15-0 game
Yeah, this was not
of
live
Lane County,
Cowboys.
Oregon girls softball.
I don't think that's got its own softball reference page.
Yeah, just thought I would bring up that story. But yes,
Okay.
I'm still gonna take the Lions on this game, and I think it's gonna be a great
I'll
game. This is outside the Packers. This is the one I'm most excited for.
I'll say the Rams in the upset. Just because I feel like there should be a real upset.
Yeah, there really should be. But I think the next game there could be a real upset.
Yes. Well, I don't know.
Buccaneers, Eagles.
Yeah. So you said upset. Which team do you think is favored? Because the Eagles
I think the
are
Eagles are
five
tech.
seed,
I think their Eagles are technically favored,
but
just because I feel like I
they
don't know. I
should.
feel like they should be favored, even though like they're a 5 seed. They've been playing really bad lately.
Let's talk about that. I mean,
What happened? Like they were the team to beat. They were the gold standard of the NFL.
their defense stinks, and really both sides. They're like so predictable. Um, I would love to see like, obviously you can't do this, but uh, and they're more than the tush push, but I would like to see what their record is without the tush push. Obviously, you
I
can't just play those plays. You gotta, convert them
Yeah.
to whatever some normal play. But uh, uh, that- it feels like that's worth a certain amount of wins.
I mean, it's again, it's not like they're like, they scored the occasional touchdown, but it's like the third down, third and one play. And it works really well. And again, other teams have tried it. And you need the
Yeah,
right
it's
kind of
kind of
guys for it.
Uh, it's crazy how bad they've looked. I mean,
It's
when they
just like,
played the
what
Giants,
are
it was
they?
terrible. In this
What's
game where they were trying to win,
different? Like what has changed in the span of like the last 7 games where they just went from like we're the Eagles, we're gonna make the Super Bowl to we're barely making the playoffs.
I don't think anything really happened as much as they weren't great at a certain. They started 10-1, but they were not a great 10-1 team, and then were kind of exposed. But this is pretty dramatic, even for that. Um,
I still think this team knows how to win games.
I do too. I'm concerned
And
about the,
the Buccaneers, I mean, yeah, a lot of those dudes were have playoff experience. Baker technically does too. Yeah, Baker does.
but
He won a playoff game with the Browns.
the Eagles' defensive line is really good. The rest of their defense is not, and they don't have good linebackers, and it shows. And this team can be run on, and I think Rashad White could run on them. Uh, it's if I'm an Eagles fan, I'd be very nervous going into
Oh
this.
yeah, I said that earlier in the show. Like Eagles fans should be worried.
They'll probably win, but it's not. It feels like
The
if the
Bucks are one
right
of
things
those
happen
teams
for
could
Canada,
sneak up on people. Like that's my take for the dark horse. Like not win it all, but like make a run.
yeah,
Because like think, who would have fought out of the? I know the NFC South was just a joke of a division, but I didn't think
yes,
the Buccaneers were gonna win it.
I like Baker's moxie. Baker feels unafraid.
He is because he really has nothing to lose at this point in his career.
Yeah,
Because this is like his fourth team, fifth team, fourth team. Browns, Panthers, Rams. Now he's on the
yes.
Bucks. And he's just trying to like get, keep his starting job, like and
And
not
it's
like have to
impressive.
move again.
He's been very, stable for them
Yeah.
and since he
It's a
got
hard
there.
act to replace Brady.
Totally, totally is. Um, Philly's offensive line is so good. And that's again not just the tush push, but just everything. I don't think Lane Johnson may have allowed 1 sack this year,
Mhm.
and Kelsey is a you know first team All Pro. Um, uh, that's such a good unit, and
And
even still, it feels like with that, it almost feels like they're so good that Jalen Hurts doesn't know what to do when he's getting pressured
yeah, because he probably like for a lot of a season he wasn't.
because he wasn't exactly.
I think they
And
do the tush push just to like help him feel like what it's like to have a dude try to tackle you.
yeah, I can see that, but it's very um, Jalen Hurts has been a lot worse this season.
It's because this was like an MVP level guy.
At the start of the season, it was too. He was too, but it's
Just
bad decision making, turnovers, and
ever
just
since
not
ever
anything
since
to
that
back.
Niners game, they just haven't been the same.
He's done nothing to like wow uh, any. It doesn't feel like they have the electricity that they had last season.
Yeah,
AJ Brown is AJ Brown if he's playing. He was
Devontae
injured.
Smith's pretty good too.
Smith is pretty good. Um, Swift,
Yep.
DeAndre Swift is can be solid, but I don't know. This feels like this team could be exposed, and if not, I mean, they play San Francisco if they win, so that feels like it wouldn't be a shock if they lost.
I don't know, I'm just excited that like it's just like it's kind of a wild card matchup where you have like a team that like should be good, but they're not, versus a team that
Hmm.
wasn't meant to be great.
Yes, you're right.
The
Yeah,
the
it's gonna be
Buccaneers are only in the playoffs merely because they play in the NFC
had to be.
South.
Yeah, because they just had to be.
Someone had to win that division,
Hmm.
and it wasn't going to be the Panthers.
No, the Saints are too busy running it on
Hey,
victory at a victory.
you got to get Jamal Williams in the end zone.
I don't hate that. I mean, it's incredibly stupid, but it's
He was
fun.
the
Whatever. It's
he was the league leader in touchdowns a season ago.
like 18. It was insane.
And he was the second string running back on that team.
Hmm.
And then all of a sudden he's like, they're like, we want you to play fullback. Like Jamal Williams is not a fullback. I don't know what the Saints were thinking. Like, let's have like this guy. Like,
Can't
no,
block. You need to block you.
I know, but like You have a 1-2 punch. You could have a 1-2 punch with Kamara and Jamal Williams, but no.
Mhm.
Like instead, I don't know.
Um,
The Saints
Tampa Bay.
are a whole issue, but
Ooh,
we don't need to talk about
yeah,
that.
they're a mess. And they're gonna be screwed this offseason.
They really are.
Tampa Bay. Um, Mike Evans is still, and it's incredible what his chemistry, by the way, Baker's very impressive, and it's like insane what he's been doing his entire career.
It's been good with any quarterback who throws Mike Evans the ball. Like Mike Evans will still be good
Yeah,
because like obviously Brady was gonna make him good,
Jameis.
but like Jameis made him good. Like Brian Ryan Fitzpatrick.
One other guy.
That era of Fitz Magic was was the funnest like 3 weeks of
Did
football.
I kind of remember that. Yeah, it was. And he
Yeah,
played.
you know why I remember that? Because I
Any of my
remember fantasy football was the being I got to pick up I had to pick up a quarterback. And it was between Ryan Fitzpatrick, who I knew about, and then this new guy who I never heard of named Patrick Mahomes.
never heard of him.
Well, because this was like his breakout year. I had never heard of him.
No, I've never heard of who. What team does he play for?
I believe he plays for the Kansas City Swifties.
Uh,
But it's just like this weird looking guy named Patrick Mahomes. Like, oh,
hmm.
who's he? And
I mean,
I went with Ryan Fitzpatrick.
you mean Jackson Mahomes' brother?
We're an anti-Jackson Mahomes podcast.
Yeah, anti Deshaun Watson, anti
We have so like well because I this will air next week. But I was like talking to my sister about she's I kept on
week.
saying like we're
Playoffs
me
are
and my
gonna be over. I'm gonna be wrong about this stuff.
what
Playoffs, the first round's gonna be over.
first round's gonna be over. Well, me and my sister talk about it. No, this is airing this week. Me and my sister are airing next week.
Oh, okay, fine.
I recorded it a while back, but she was like, "Are you like anti anyone on this podcast?" Because I kept on saying we're pro this, we're pro that
uh,
podcast. And in general, we like most people. We just we're anti Washington Huskies, we're anti Deshaun Watson,
yeah,
anti Oregon State Beavers.
sure.
We have a
Hey,
few things we
whatever.
don't like, but in general, we like to shout at the boys we do like.
Anti Jackson Mahomes.
Anti Jackson Mahomes, but pro Patrick Mahomes.
Who you got in this game?
Who do I got in this game? I want the Buccaneers to win.
As do I.
I think it'd be fun. I just think like they got. I know they technically won their division, but they really don't have to prove anything because like no one's expecting this. It's the Eagles to lose. Like it's the Eagles
They
game to
have a home
lose.
game, which kind of matters.
And yeah, it's like it's nice that like the Buccaneers like the last 3 years with Brady they were like a pretty good team, won a Super
Mm-hmm.
Bowl,
Mm-hmm.
and now like obviously it wasn't like last year, but like they still made a playoff. They still won
Sure.
games. They beat the Packers. Should mention that. It's a tough game. Yeah, Baker never
Yeah.
beat the Packers. Well, to be fair, he only played them once before, but still. Uh,
Oh,
I
just in the play.
I know. Well, no, in general, he played the Packers once on the Browns.
Really?
Yeah, and he
Oh,
threw like 3 picks or something. I don't know. I actually do. I did get reminded of one thing. We were talking about this earlier in the show, like the Packers Cowboys. So, you know where I was the first time the Packers beat the Cowboys in like 2015?
I don't.
I was
How
at
would
the
I?
yeah, you wouldn't know. I was in Atlanta. I was at the AIDS quilt, so I missed most of the game. Like
AIDS.
I missed all of it actually. I had to like keep on looking on my phone because obviously it's before like the
Yeah,
days
fall on
like
like
I had to like
ESPN
no, I had
Gamecast
to
or
like like keep on like up on my phone. Like this was the long before the days where you could just put it on your
yep,
phone.
yep.
And I remember like I didn't see the Des Bryant cat or the Des Bryant no catch, but I still remember
I
like
didn't see any catch either.
well I didn't see the play.
Oh, well, yeah.
But I still remember debating a Cowboys fan at school the next day.
That's the way to do it. Is
Just
just
like I didn't see the
unless
he didn't know
you,
I hadn't seen it. He assumed I watched it. I hadn't.
that's what I've been doing about like most of this
I mean,
podcast. Like I
half the
actually know.
stuff I talk about the show, I didn't watch half the stuff I talk about.
I've never watched a single snap of football this season.
I only have 2 TVs on for football. I can't see every play.
I watch Desperate Housewives all the time. That's what my Sundays are.
I'm actually trying to figure out for some reason on my Peacock. Uh, I don't know who because I've asked people who have my access to my account. They all said no, but someone's been watching both the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and a Real Housewives of Salt Lake City.
Well, you got to get the diversity of
But I'm just like, who the
really
hell
so
is?
has their own. Who the hell is gonna watch
It's a
that?
bunch of Mormons. It's
Huh.
really wholesome.
Sure. I don't need that.
I know you were a Desperate Housewives fan.
Oh yeah, huge. I can tell you everything.
There was, wait, I actually have a story about this.
Yeah.
Like many years ago, one of our camp friends in like the camp Facebook group, she had like binged like the first two seasons of Desperate Housewives like over like a winter break, but didn't have access to Netflix anymore. And she's like begging us, like, someone give me your Netflix password. I want to watch Desperate Housewives. So like once I figured out like how far in the show she got,
Yeah.
of course I never seen the show, but like I read the first two season synopsis on Wikipedia, and then I
Yeah.
stop, and then just make a fake spoiler for the start of season three.
Nice.
I didn't actually read it because I didn't really want to spoil it for her.
Oh, you should have. Who
No,
was
because I know because I just wanted to scare her. I wouldn't want to
it?
really spoil it, but I made up this like alternate start to season three.
How do you know if you didn't actually read the synopsis for the season
I
three?
think well, because I
How do you know
didn't want to know
which
if I
one
was right
was
or
first?
wrong. I just wanted to make my prediction.
Yeah, all right, fine.
I just like I'm like this is the evidence, this is the information I've gathered. Let's make a prediction based off what I know. And she got real mad.
That's funny.
What? I did a lot of research. It was fun.
It was worth it.
I mean, yeah, I remember.
Good prank.
I remember when that show was all the rage.
I don't.
It
I
was
couldn't.
like mid 2000s was like the prime era of Desperate Housewives.
Hmm.
It was a simpler time.
Boy, was it.
Yeah, I remember like all the moms watched Desperate Housewives.
It's a big
Talk,
Bush administration thing.
they could no, they could talk about it at the gym. You're on the treadmill, like, yo, you
Hmm.
watched Desperate Housewives last night?
Yeah. You got your sweatshirt tied around your waist and
Yeah,
you're in your
I don't know.
legging.
It's the time of year where everyone's like going to the gym
Get a
because it's
juice
like
smoothie.
it's right after like New Year's, so everyone's like, I'm gonna go to the gym this year. So Planet Fitness is hopping, needless to say, with a bunch of people who like good for them for getting out there, but I don't think I'll be seeing them in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, what's gonna be there in March,
Yeah,
you know.
like, but
Then
that's why I beat it. I went in November. I'm like, I'm gonna go to the gym starting in
there you go.
November.
There
So
you
when
go.
January rolls around, I'm already a regular.
Hmm.
That's
So
how I
you say
roll.
all that to say Philly's gonna win, or
So, oh yeah, we really went off the rails. I still think Tampa's gonna win, or I want Tampa to win, but I think Philly will win.
okay?
I think Philly's gonna figure it out for a game, and then I think they're gonna get
Yeah,
destroyed. They're gonna lose to San Francisco, or they're gonna lose to Dallas.
interesting.
Assuming it's
I'll
San
give my,
Francisco, assuming Dallas wins, which I think they will.
I'll give my pick. I'm going with the Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, we got our good friend Dan Levy who works for Eagles. We gotta show him a little love. He's a friend of the show.
I bleed blue.
You bleed blue.
Big,
Blue,
big blue.
blue lives matter.
Your words, something. Too busy supporting FDNY.
All
Should we talk
right.
about San Francisco and Baltimore real quick, and
Yeah.
then give our Super Bowl?
Yeah. San
Baltimore,
Francisco. Oh, we're gonna start
San
Baltimore.
Francisco.
All right. Let's start Baltimore.
Let's start with San Francisco.
Okay. Let's start with San Francisco. I
Started
love
in Bal-
Brock Purdy.
Yeah, I think Lamar Jackson's good too.
No, I love Brock
Brock
Purdy.
Purdy, Brock Purdy is exactly what that team needs.
He's a
They don't
national
need,
hero.
yeah, he's just the absolute perfect um
He's everything Jimmy
game
G couldn't be.
manager. Yes. Do you think that? By the way, like throws a pretty nice
Yeah.
ball too. Like
He's an
he's
objectively better player than Jimmy G.
McCaffrey and everyone, but like he's a pretty good quarterback. Do you think that the Niners would not trade, but do you think they would rather have Josh Allen than Brock Purdy?
I think Brock Purdy just fits good in this system.
I
I
That's what I'm saying. I agree with that.
Because it
I
didn't
would
work out
rather
for Trey Lance because Trey Lance like wanted to be the guy, and that's
Trey Lance
not.
like but it's just not. That's not what they needed.
It's also
It's
it's not a system where like the quarterback runs for show. The quarterback is a
they
game
have
manager.
such a they have such a Swiss watch offense, and Trent Williams and all these guys. That's a really good team, and their defense is just as good. Their defense, if it weren't for Nick Bosa, Fred Warner would be talked about as like one of the best.
Also, they
And
have
say he's not
Chase
like the best
Young.
defense, and they just got Chase Young, who I think is in for a big playoff. And they have Dre Greenlaw and Travarius Ward and whoever. God, they have a really stacked team. Their only thing is isn't doesn't their kicker stink?
I mean, he might. I think he missed a
Heck,
game-winning field goal against the Browns or something.
Jake Moody. I thought he stunk, and if he does, that's a
But
problem.
yeah, they're so good. You don't even think about the fact that their kicker might be bad.
No, but in the playoffs, like little things can like
Yeah,
if you're saying why didn't San Francisco win, it's like would it surprise you if like oh their kicker missed like two field goals?
yeah.
Like
That's why the Packers didn't beat them in the playoffs.
because when they were on the you know
It,
38-yard line, they weren't confident enough to kick a field goal, so they had to go for it on 4th and 4, and then they missed
yeah,
that was like they
special
just
teams do
yeah,
matter. Special teams,
absolutely.
like yeah,
I don't
that
think it's like
Packers
a head of the
playoff
game.
game still
Uh,
haunts me to this day. Sometimes my roommate will like play that clip out loud in the house just to bother me. Like
Baltimore,
when they block the punt.
yeah,
Baltimore. I think Baltimore is gonna make the Super Bowl. I don't know if we're gonna win it, but I think they're gonna make it.
the narrative around Lamar is that he can't win the playoffs, but that was kind of an old narrative back when like not like old, but whatever, 3 years ago.
Mhm.
Um, and he's not really been back in the playoffs and done much since. But I think he's changed as a quarterback where he still runs and uses his legs effectively, but
Mhm.
he's really spread the ball out
Yeah,
a good amount. It sucks they don't have Mark Andrews, but Isaiah Likely has been a very good fill-in.
it's just like the defense is playing well,
The defense, Kyle Hamilton's a beast of a safety.
and like
I don't know.
it's again like it could totally be like they get upset again, like they did when they were the one seed in like
Mm.
2019. But like they're a very good team.
I have one more. I'm totally forgot about this, but I had one more San Francisco point, and
Yeah,
it's sort of a Philly point too. Is San Francisco and Miami, I think, are like top in the league for pre-snap motion.
Mhm.
And Philly is like bottom of the league. And I just think like the pre-snap motion is like very important now.
Yeah.
And in relation to San Francisco, I think that's why or what helps Brock Purdy is because he has time, before the ball's been snapped to read more, get more information about the defense and everything. Back to
It's also
Baltimore.
like you can run like almost about that. You can like run like have the same formation, but if you run a different motion, it could be a whole different play.
Totally,
Like the
totally.
defense will if you the
I don't know
defense
why everything
really
doesn't do
never
it.
knows what you're doing.
It feels like just the thing to do. Baltimore has a very good defense and is I'm a little concerned about their wide receivers. I don't think Zay Flowers is, this great. Where that's the thing is Lamar can spread it out, but he doesn't really have these great OBJ,
But yeah, OBJ's playing well
Rashad.
though.
And all right, but
I would still like him on my team.
um, they're running back. They just got a running back.
Uh,
Dalvin
Gus
Cook.
Edwards or
No, they
Yeah, they paid
Dalvin
up
Cook.
Dalvin Cook. Like, but again, like how good is Dalvin Cook going to be? Like
I don't know. I feel like look, their running back on that team is never, going to be the star of the show. But I feel
they
like
always get injured.
they do. Dalvin, I'm sure, but Dalvin will probably be somewhat, fresher legs. He played this season, but not that much on the Jets.
He barely played.
Yeah, I just think that's like a nice piece to have.
It's a
And
good
every
pickup,
bye week is matters for getting healthy.
and get Dalvin Cook adjusted to the play calling and like the
Exactly,
playbook.
exactly. Super
All
Bowl
right.
prediction. Should we
Super Bowl
do
predictions. I
before?
think it's Raven. I want a Ravens 49ers rematch.
Okay.
That's what I want. I don't think that's probably going to happen just because there's going to be an upset.
Yeah.
But I think I would lock the 49ers in for the NFC. AFC. What if the Bills sneak in?
I was thinking about the Bills.
Like,
I was thinking about the Bills. I know we just said all that stuff about the Bills, but and I also want to say, like, well, what if Josh Allen kind of figures it out?
and
I
then
don't
like, yeah, like this could be the year the Bills, like, because again, like I don't think there's a city that like would appreciate, maybe with the exception of Green Bay, of course, that like would
know.
appreciate a Super Bowl more than Buffalo.
Green Bay doesn't know what it's like to have like a terrible quarterback and figure it all out.
I mean, in the '80s, I don't think we were that good.
Yeah, but you don't know. You don't even know where you are in 2001. Well, in the 80s.
Sure, but
I'm picking Kansas City, San Francisco,
picking
Super
Kansas
Bowl
City,
match.
oh, a rematch, another rematch.
And I would take San Francisco. San Francisco is just so they're. What else can you say?
Yeah, they're good.
Shanahan is a genius and has really figured out such an effective team.
Mhm. My roommate's a huge Niners fan, so it'd be cool to see him happy.
Nice.
Yeah, he loves to troll me when Niners beat the Packers.
Mm-hmm.
That was a rough game. Sensitive topic, needless to say.
The Niners beat the Packers. I don't really remember one.
It was 2022, the blocked punt.
Oh yeah, in the snow, in the snow. I wasn't
It
watching that
wasn't it
game.
wasn't in the snow, it was just cold, but like blocked punt.
No, wasn't it snow?
uh,
I didn't watch the game.
I don't
If
know.
Green Bay makes the Super Bowl, would you go?
It's a lot of money.
Where's the Super Bowl this year? Vegas?
Vegas. So that
I
yeah,
understand it's
that
a lot
would
of
be
money, but
that'd be a lot of money. I would think about it, but I don't think I could like believe it or
personally,
not,
yeah,
I
I don't
don't
think it's
rake in
worth it.
cash hosting the Step One podcast.
Oh, that's Super Bowl money? You could go with the press pass. Easy.
Yeah, sure. I get a press pass. Like, hey, like my podcast that like it's mostly just
Mhm.
like you, Simon, and my mom's friends who watch the show.
Exactly. That's all you need. Take on the Heisman ceremony.
I mean, I know we have some female viewers because it's according to my Spotify data, it's 50-50 male and female.
Ladies, hello.
Well, glad we're getting more female viewership. We always love viewers.
Hmm.
All right. Well, I want to thank you for coming on. This was always fun. Always fun having you on the show. You're welcome back whenever you want.
All
All right.
right.
Have a great rest of your day, Feldstein. All right. Big Fred, over and out. All right. So normally this is where I preview upcoming football games, but we literally just did that with my friend Jacob Feldstien. So there's not much more for me to say. We went through all the games. So now the football's coming to an end, which is always a difficult time of the year for me. It's going to be a whole lot of football related content for a while. I know we got the draft and we'll have whatever happens in the offseason, but for now, there's not a whole lot going on. But this is a sports podcast, and there are other sports than football. So I have some cool ideas for what to do for this segment of a show, post interview. But again, for now, I don't have anything. I have some cool ideas though, and you will see them in future episodes. So for now, that is our show this week. Thank you so much for watching. We will be back next week. Big Fred, over and out.